And action! Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Action Podcast. My name is Paul Escarcega. With me, as always, is my brother, Peter Escarcega. Same mother, big shocker. Same mother and father, but we don't look alike. But anyways, today we have a few movies on the slate. We have The Pope's Exorcist, which stars Russell Crowe.
Right.
We have Renfield, which stars Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. We have Mafia Mamma, which stars Toni Collette. We have Sweetwater, which stars Jeremy Piven and Kevin Pollack. And then we have Chupa, which is on Netflix. I saw that one, so I'll give a quick.
I haven't seen that. Okay, good.
So with that, Pete, let's get into the number one film right now, which is Pope's Exorcist. This is currently number 2 in the box office, with Super Mario Brothers currently still dominating. And yeah, so this was able to dent number 2, but not a lot, because Super Mario Brothers is still taking a large share of the market. But
sure,
I want to hear your thoughts on Pope's Exorcist.
Well, this is directed by Julius Avery, who we've known from like The Samaritan and Overlord. The biggest challenge in an Exorcist movie is to be original and to not kind of fall under that incredibly big shadow of the actual Exorcist movie, which sort of changed the game and created a genre. We've seen a million different Exorcist movies since, and as much as I can appreciate Russell Crowe's performance and the direction that they went with it, like this movie almost set up like for future films, right? Like they're trying to almost set up like a franchise with this film, and that's in and of itself a very interesting concept. However, this is the run-of-the-mill Exorcist movie. There's a kid that gets possessed, and for some reason he asks for this specific priest. Fine, that's a different thing, I guess. And the priest shows up, and there's a battle. Families involved. They get altered a little bit, and ultimately the kid gets, shocker. The kid gets saved, and then they take it a step further at the end, which is what I was talking about. How they, and I won't reveal what they do, but they sort of set things up to, kind of branch off and do potentially other Pope's Exorcist movies. It's almost like they're trying to set it up to be some sort of like a graphic novel movie series or something. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a good watch. It's nice. But it's an Exorcist movie. There's nothing really just so mind-blowing about it.
Yeah. That might be I think your take might be a more popular take if you're like heavily into quote unquote this genre. I'm not. So like, I mean, I saw The Exorcist way after it came out. And obviously that movie, like what you can do now versus what you can do back then are completely two different things. I'm not really bogged down by the original Exorcist when I watch an Exorcist movie. I always love more of the historical aspect of this type of movie. And that's what kind of drew me in is, this is based off of a true story. This is based, with the Vatican and again, kind of more politics. And I do like the backstory of Russell Crowe's character where, he's also dealing with, him possibly losing his position. And yeah, there's a lot of things that I found interesting with it. And so for me,
if I may, because I agree with that to an extent. I just didn't think that they, like, if they are doing what I think that they're doing, which is setting up a franchise, I don't think that they set it up properly. I don't think that they gave us enough of Russell Crowe's character. I don't think they gave us enough of a history. This could have been done in a way that, add another 10 minutes to the movie which wouldn't have been a deal breaker, right? Like it just, add maybe a little bit, 10 more minutes, give us a little bit more about, because I mean, they just get like right into it, which is
Yeah, I didn't
very
mind.
typical. It's very typical of Exorcist movies. You just get right into it and then you go, and it's a series of very predictable events take place, which is what this movie did. I just wish that they did more of what you're talking about. If they would have just really built that up a little bit more, it probably would have been, I don't know, something a little bit more exciting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can argue that. I mean, we're not talking about, air here, which or a good person. I'm not saying this movie is going to win an Oscar or anything. But I thought it was entertaining enough. Again,
Yeah,
for me, I like the occult combined with history and religion. Like I just it's a fascinating subject for me. So like
no, yeah, I agree.
this movie was again. I think this is a single. I'm not saying this is a double or a triple. I think this is a single. I think it was a very good role for Russell Crowe. I like seeing him in roles where he can be kind of the lead guy again. I still think he has a lot of drawing power in terms of great acting, and so I thought this was a solid film for him, and I look forward to more things out of him because again, at one time he was the actor, right? And
He
so
was.
I'd
And
like.
in terms of his performance, yeah, I mean, it was a really good performance. And it was very nice to see that because I am a fan, 100% of Russell Crowe. You see these ebbs and flows with certain celebrities, and he's certainly been on the downslope for a little bit. I mean, a little bit. Um, but it's good to see him back. And I think this movie is going to open up some other opportunities for him, and we're going to start seeing that old gladiator style Russell Crowe again.
Yeah. What on a side note, Pete, how was the Italian from Russell Crowe since you speak Italian?
Yeah, no, I mean, his Italian was pretty good. I mean, it was clear. I mean, my Italian is my wife is Italian, and I'm learning Italian. You could drop me off in Italy, and I could survive. I could probably get where I need to go, and I could eat and live. I couldn't do a job interview, right? And I think Russell Crowe, his performance was more. It's a step up from me, where he did a really good job, but Italians would go, he's American or he's
Australian.
Australian, whatever he is. They would be able to tell just from like little tiny nuance from just the way you say certain letters and words that he's not Italian, right? Like they would just know right off the bat, right? So
What about
I mean, but he was fine, whatever.
yeah, I thought it was very believable. It didn't bother me.
I didn't need subtitles, so that was kind of cool for me. Like I didn't need
Oh
to
yeah.
read the subtitles when he was talking. I knew what he and the Pope were talking about, which was kind of exciting.
Awesome. So ultimately go see this. I think combine both of what we're saying, and you might figure out somewhere in the middle of what if you're a passionate exorcist guy and you've seen every exorcism movie, this might be middle of the pack. If you're not exorcism, you can handle a little bit of like, treacherous, then this could be a good watch for you. So again,
Sure.
figure out where you are on that spectrum. Next, Pete, we have Renfield. I did not see this one yet. This stars Nicolas Cage, like I mentioned. What are your thoughts on this one? I'm curious to hear your opinion.
Yeah, directed by Chris McKay. I mean, this guy did the Tomorrow War on I think Amazon Prime.
Yeah, solid.
Lego Batman movie. He did 20 episodes of Moral Oral, which I don't know if you remember Moral Oral, but it was one of my favorite shows on like Comedy Central or something like from like 100 years ago. It's just like so. I already love this guy, and this movie is okay. So the premise is that uh, Nicholas Holt's character Renfield is basically beholden to Count Dracula. Like he's devoted his life to him in order to survive and get powers by eating bugs. So whenever he eats bugs, he's got these powers, and then he can go and get victims to further strengthen Dracula, but he's going through like this sort of crisis in his mind where he joins a group of like battered people and abusive partners, and like they like teach him in the first like couple of minutes. This is just like in the first couple of minutes. Teaches him like, you know, that you have to stand up for yourself, and you are strong and you are powerful, and like he doesn't have the power, you have the power. But meanwhile, they have no idea that yeah, he actually does have the power. It's Dracula. Like he could kill me like that. And it plays out very comedically. Um, and it is very funny. There's some great action sequences. It's not gory like Cocaine Bear
Yeah.
gory, where it's like way over the top, but it's over the top for sure. Like when they rip off somebody's arms, there's blood just like just like, you know, all over. It's ridiculous, but it's done in a very comedic way so that it's acceptable. Nicolas Cage as Dracula, like I mean, when I first saw the trailers, I just was like, what are we doing? Like, what is he doing? Like, he does look a bit ridiculous because I've seen Nicolas Cage for the better part of 40 years. And I don't know, it just didn't seem to fit. But when I watched the movie, like I kind of got it a little bit. I understand why he would have done it. Um,
I think it's the tone because it's definitely a comedy.
yeah,
Like
but I almost, you know, what was the name of that movie that came out where it's like a retrospective of his life because he goes and like a
mass,
drug dealer.
yeah, unbearable weight of massive talent.
Yeah, that one. It would have been interesting if this movie was done before that movie came out and somehow this was incorporated into that movie.
Yeah,
Um, I think that would have been that would have just been great. I think this isn't like one of those Nicolas Cage movies that you kind of like scrolled through and seen and you're like, well, I've never heard of that. This
no,
is a
no, no.
legit Nicolas Cage performance. I think he did a great job. Excuse me. And overall, I recommend this movie if you're looking to just go and have a great time, like Cocaine Bear. Like you
Yeah,
went to Cocaine Bear with no expectations and you had a blast when you
yeah.
watched that movie. Renfield is the same thing. Don't go into this with any sort of expectations. Just go into it to enjoy a really funny, gory story that again, like
Yeah, that's
Pope's
what.
Exorcist, they're gonna set this thing up. I feel like everything is being set up for sequels. I think this is another example of that.
Yeah, I think the
But
challenge
I
is
recommend it for sure.
nice. I
It's
still want
funny.
I still want to see it. I was gonna try and see that last night, but it didn't work out because we were shooting another podcast. But I'm just looking at a couple numbers, and I think the challenge that this film's gonna have, and I'm appalled, but the budget of this film was $65 million.
Wow.
And to me, again, when you're talking about genre, specifically comedy, you got to be very careful with money. And I just feel like that number is really high. I think 20 million sounds about right. So I'm looking at the Pope's Exorcist. That budget was $18 million. I love that budget. And guess what?
Wow.
It's already made $38 million worldwide. Excellent job. They made their money. And now you're talking about, yeah, you can make another sequel, especially if you keep the next one around the same price, 20 million maybe. Then you're going to make your money. Um, Renfield, $65 million. That's a lot. And it's only made 9 million, 8 million in its first weekend. I think 9
How
million,
many?
8 million.
9 million? Oh,
Yeah, 8 or 9. Both of those movies made 8 or 9 million because Super Mario Brothers is killing everything
yeah,
right
just
now.
crushing.
So again, when
They've
you're
got
talking
that
about,
Pause of Fury fever right now.
yeah, so when you're talking like the economics of films, again, it's one thing to have a great script, but then it's got to be marketable, and then you got to reel it in with cost and all that stuff. You just don't have unlimited money because money is a resource, and if you like 65 million, I mean, I'm assuming Nicolas Cage's money is probably decently high on this. Might be like a $5 million role for him. I don't know his numbers anymore,
But
but
still, at the end of the day, though, it's also about timing, right? Like
yeah,
we saw this with Pause of Fury. We were released right in between a week after Minions Rise of Gru, and a week before DC League of Super Pets. We were sandwiched between two massive IP in
Yeah.
animation, and there was just no way that people were going to go
Yeah.
and see our film with these two juggernauts around us.
I
So, I
think
mean,
actually
when
this
people
is
are releasing these films, like, why would you release this film expecting for 65 million? You can't go into like the weekend after Super Mario Brothers, which is a
no,
huge, huge IP.
no, but nobody
And
thought Super Mario Bros. Was going to do this.
no, I mean,
This is not.
yes and no.
This is performing like a Marvel film. I mean,
But just IP alone, just recognition alone, you know that Super Mario Brothers was going to do X amount of dollars. You
yeah,
just
this
knew
is
it.
2 weeks after. This is 2 weeks after, and I actually don't have a problem with when they
Fair
were.
enough.
This was a good weekend because your major competition this week was the Pope's Exorcist. I'm sorry if I'm Renfield, I'm like we got a good shot to win the box office. I would have thought that 3 weeks ago. Now seeing how crazy Super Mario Brothers is doing, nobody expected Super Mario Brothers to still be pulling in over $50 million of the market on its third week. Those are insane numbers, and I would not have predicted that going in. I'm pretty decent at this stuff. I would not have predicted 50 plus million. I thought maybe 10 million, 15 million its third week, but not this high. So I actually don't blame that part. I think that's just it's a miscalculation, but I would have done the same thing over and over again. I think my money is still, or my issue still is the money. It's too expensive of a film. They got to cut that down or figure out a way to do it cheaper. But anyways, let's move on. We got to get through 3 more films. Next film is Mafia Mamma. Pete, I did not see this as well. This stars Toni Collette.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, listen, I have an Italian connection, and I'm not going to be biased about this. This movie was phenomenal. This movie, I laughed from the first second I started watching this. Mafia Mama is by far my favorite film of the week. It's
Really?
hilarious. It's funny. It's action packed. It's dramatic. It pays homage to Godfather and other gangster movies. Toni Collette is a very dramatic actress who always makes you feel exactly what she's going through, like in The Sixth Sense, where she's like crying with Haley Joel Osment. You're feeling those things. Everything that she does, you're with her. Now she just comes into this 100% comedic role and absolutely crushed. And there's not many actors and actresses that can go from the drama world and then come into comedy and just absolutely hit a home run. The movie is well done. It's from start to finish. The story is really, really great. And it all plays out, and it's done in a very clever way. Within the first like couple of minutes, like it's like, you know, that moment in a script or in a story, the inciting incident where it's supposed to happen generally in a script. It happens like within the first like 30 seconds to a minute and a half of this movie, and you're like, you immediately think, oh boy, like that's never a good sign.
Yeah.
But they pulled it off in a very, very clever, funny way. I recommend this movie more than any other movie of this week.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure to check
It's
it
so
out.
good.
Yeah, I like your review. The director is Catherine Hardwicke. She's directed quite a few things. The crazy part is she's never directed really anything comedic, which she's done she did a Twilight, she did Lords of
Twilight.
Dogtown, 13,
Yep.
Red Riding Hood, Hell on Wheels, a TV show on AMC.
Mm-hmm. This
Uh
Is Us. A
Miss
couple of
Paul,
episodes. I mean, that's all
yeah,
drama. That's all drama.
Cabinet of Curiosities. So she's got a kind of a darker career.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very curious how this project came up. I don't have any of that info, but good job to her. Yeah, curious to see it. Monica
Yeah,
Bellucci.
well done. Because I mean, yeah, it's really shot beautifully and acted just top notch. Monica Bellucci is like fantastic.
Yeah,
Even the sidekicks, like the secondary characters, like the bodyguards of Toni Collette, are absolutely hilarious. And it's all Italian, so they're doing all the Italian things that you're supposed
yeah.
to be doing when you're doing your things. And It's not over exaggerated, but it's spot on. It's
Nice,
really spot on.
nice.
Great film.
Next, we have Sweetwater, which again stars Everett Osborne. He is Nat Sweetwater Clifton, who is one of the first Black players to join the NBA. It also stars Cary Elwes of Princess Bride fame. He is the New York Knickerbockers owner, Ned Irish. Jeremy Piven is the coach, and Kevin Pollack is the head coach of the basically the Harlem Globetrotters. But this had a great cast. I mean, I love the setup of the film. Of course, this is a historical film, and I typically love these type of films. The cast is really good. I even thought the story was solid too, but it just I don't think this movie was bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think it was just like the Hall of Good, like it for me. So I looked up the director. There was something clunky about it, and I looked at the director, and the director has a very musical background. But I thought that's what there was to me a misstep in the cohesion of the film. Like sometimes the music just seemed very overbearing or didn't really fit the scene. Like it almost felt like one of those like Dave Chappelle comedy scenes when they're trying to be serious, and it's like this music, and I just didn't feel like the music. And again, that's like what this guy's background is. I didn't feel like the music was like in tune with the scene, and it was
interesting.
It was weird. I say like I enjoyed the film, but like I read a review because I was just like maybe I'm in my own head, maybe I missed something. But I read another review.
What did it say?
Kind of they kind of agreed with me, and they're also just saying like how it wasn't really tough enough. Like it really didn't kind of go hard into like the racism at the time, and I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, like this movie just didn't go hard enough. Like you didn't really feel like it was that bad, I guess. You know what I mean? And I think that's a mistake that the film made, because obviously you should think it's bad. You should really feel the exterior pressures kind of mounting on you. You should feel more tense. You should have more feelings in a film like this. And I think that's what I was overall lacking, was any sort of emotion either way.
Would a comp be like on the really great side would be like a 42, where it's like Jackie Robinson and you actually felt everything that he was going through in order to become that iconic person?
Yeah.
Versus this movie that should have been doing this but didn't?
Yeah. I mean, it's not definitely
Okay.
not too.
But you're describing something where it's like you weren't feeling everything that this guy would have obviously gone through.
Yeah. It was more like almost more about money versus kind of like racial tensions and stuff like that. But like I thought Jeremy Piven did a great job. Like the acting was good. It just felt like everybody was held back a little bit. I don't know. I wanted more. Again, like this is a sports film, historical film. Like this is my alley here. And I think I just kind of wanted more. Like I just watched In the Heat of the Night. Remember
Oh yeah.
Drew was saying, oh, he put that as one of his top 5 dramas of all time. And I watched that one. And that movie is definitely a 60s movie, but there definitely is like you're definitely feeling like the racial overtones in this, and it's definitely like you feel it, And again, that movie won 5 Oscars. Again, I think the movie's dated in terms of like the way it's shot and all that good stuff, but it is a good movie. I don't think it's the top 5 best drama of all time, but it is a very good movie. And especially like at that time that was written, like you're talking about the middle of the civil rights movement or right after that. You're still pretty much dealing with a lot of that stuff. I think it's more historical significant versus like it's the most amazing film, but it's still well done in terms of the characters are really hounding down. And again, I know that's not necessarily Sweetwater's story, but I just it needed this movie needs more massaging, I think, at the end of the day. So again, I don't want to harp on it too much, but
All right.
I
Sounds
don't think
good.
it's bad. I'm not necessarily saying run to the theater go see it, but check it out on streaming if you're into those kind of stories. It's still a good story to learn because it's still about the first, you know, African American that joined the NBA. I still think there's some stuff cool to learn about the process. I just wish it was executed a little bit better, but
Right.
uh,
That's fair.
yeah. And then lastly, Pete, we have Chuba. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing that right. This is
Chupa.
Chupa. Yeah, excuse me. I wrote a B instead of a P. Chupa. This is on Netflix right now. This is directed by Jonás Cuarón. I think I nailed that name. He wrote Gravity, and obviously his brother is Alfonso Cuarón. And so they've done a lot of projects together. So he is a solid filmmaker in his own right. And so that's what kind of so Christian Slater's also in this one. And this is it's a movie about a kind of a mythical Mexican creature.
The
Kind of like,
chupacabra.
yeah, chupacabra. That's like a furry animal that has wings. And so
Right.
the animal itself is a myth, but then this is like the story that hey, it's not a myth, and then it's about kind of a boy that encounters this animal, and then they're trying to basically help this animal get back to its family and also protect it from people.
No, it sounds a lot like E.T. in a way.
Yeah, it's very ET. It's obviously
And
probably
Christian Slater's in it. Oh my gosh.
yeah, he was great. I enjoyed seeing him again.
Why did this movie fall below my radar?
It's just on Netflix. Like I saw it on like the home screen, and it was one of their top 10
Yeah.
movies.
All right.
Um, but
Maybe I'll watch
yeah,
that
I mean,
tonight. Interesting.
Netflix doesn't advertise; they don't have to. So they're
Sure.
kind of advertising is on the screen. But check it out. I thought it's a good family adventure, especially if all these films this week. This is the best one in terms of a family pick, and so I enjoyed it. Again, it's kind of a nice little ET light. Again, I'm not comparing it to ET, but it's definitely like a journey with animals and human contact and all that good stuff. So I'd say
Well,
definitely check it out. I enjoyed it.
as much as I can appreciate you saying that this is the number one movie of the week, I urge you to go see
No, family.
Mafia Mamma.
No,
Oh, family
family.
movie.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah.
I'm looking at all the other ones. None of these are
Telling you, man,
take your kids.
Mafia Mamma is solid, man. That's a solid film.
Yeah. No, I'm not comparing it. I'm saying that other four are adult movies. This is the
Yeah,
only one that's not. So this is if you're looking for something to watch at home, streaming, like this is the movie to watch this week. Chupa.
right.
Chupa, excuse me. So
Love that.
awesome, Pete. Well, with that's going to wrap us up. We have a nice solid slate for next week. The next
Hmm.
film is Guy Ritchie's Covenant, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm
Can't
actually
wait for that.
slated to see that tonight, so
Wait.
I'm excited. Looks great. The other film comes out tomorrow is Ghosted. That's going to be on Apple Plus TV Premium Live.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
that's starring Anna de Armas and Chris Evans. Looking forward to that one. Both our girlfriend is in that one. Um, the next film is called Chevalier. Probably did not
I think
pronounce that.
it's Chevalier.
Chevalier, yeah. I knew I said it, and I was like, I already butchered it, but
It's an amazing movie called Chevalier.
yeah, Chevrolet.
It's all about this auto company that
Yeah,
creates.
terrible. And that's a film about a French composer that I saw Minnie Driver is in it. Goodwill Hunting. So
Basically, he's supposed to be the Black Mozart, but they lived together. And from what I understand, like the real story of this guy is that basically they were roommates at one point. They lived together at one point, and the the running sort of conspiracy theory is that Mozart actually stole a lot of his music. So I'm quite interested to see this film.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Good job, Pete. Way to sell.
Yeah, no, I was reading about it earlier, and like
Yeah.
that's the real story of it. And so I'm kind of curious what they do with this film.
Yeah. And then lastly is Evil Dead Rise for all you horror fans. That's going to be.
Love that. Can't wait.
I've never seen any of them, but I'll check it out if I can.
Neither have I, but the previews look.
Do I need to watch any of the other ones, or you don't know either?
I don't know. I doubt it.
They'll probably be
I
fine.
can't imagine you need to.
Nice. And then also just update on a few. Home Alone will be coming out tomorrow, and then we have and then we have already shot our Shawshank Redemption podcast, and we also just shot. We just shot it last night. Goodness sakes! Oh, Rocky 4.
Rocky 4.
We had the script like right next to me. Rocky 4. So those are on tap. So again, we're coming back. We're coming back strong. We're gonna have a lot of great content with you moving forward. So thank you guys. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Help us grow more and more. We're gonna keep putting out more content. Eventually, we're gonna also have like video essays too, kind of like how lessons from a screenplay used to do. That's on tap later on in the year when we're gonna start putting some effort into other videos as well. So stay tuned. Action Podcast. And with that, Pete, that is a cut. Thanks, guys.